Hey guys, so today I'll be reviewing all three variants of the 55 series BMW engine, including the base N55 engine second generation, the forged N55 and the S55. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Hey guys, so I'll be looking at the M235i's N55 first. This being the second generation N55, obviously it's the M Performance half M version of the N55, and specifically this one's the N55 B30, and yeah, this was only offered in the M135i and the M235i before it was replaced by the B58. Obviously, yeah, lovely engine. The N55 came out the 2009 model year and ran all the way up to 2018. The early years were the first generation of the N55, which had some issues regarding the high pressure oil and fuel pumps, I think it is, and the Vanos. But yeah, this car addressed a few of those issues. Having 322 brake horsepower from its single twin-scroll turbocharged 3-litre straight six, the N55 was slightly better than its predecessor for M54, which also had a few issues, having solenoid injectors replacing the piezos, which basically were costly and quite unreliable, the piezo injectors. So obviously high performance injectors to keep up with a high performance engine, and BMW's famous Vanos, which is variable valve timing. Obviously you've got one full charge pipe going along the bottom of the engine there, and yeah, obviously a very nice engine, having 322 brake horsepower. It had around 18 or just under 20 horsepower less than the B58 in the 40i's. So yeah, nothing crazy. Also yeah, just overall very nice. The N55 also ran in sort of specifically the X4 M40i and the 640i, which in all reality you would think would have had the B58, but those were actually 40i cars which had an N55 in them, and not 35 cars. So yeah, very nice. And obviously, yeah, let's move on to the M2. So moving on to the M2's N55, this is a special N55 designed just bespokely for the M2. No other N55 like this was offered in any other BMW model. So obviously this is again the B30, the N55 B30, but instead of being the O0, it is the T0, which is obviously an even higher performance version. So this ran from 2016 to 2018. The second sort of gen of this car with this specific engine, and was offered in the 640i and the X4 M40i. Obviously it was basically the predecessor to the S55 engine, and it featured forged con rods, aluminium lightweight pistons and piston heads, reinforced wrist pins. It also uses the S55's high pressure oil pump and sump, and it uses a cast iron block, which obviously isn't the lightweight full forged one, but still it does feature forged parts, and put out 365 brake horsepower out of yet again a 3-litre straight six single twin scroll turbocharged engine. The crankshaft is also forged as well, and these don't suffer with a crank hub issue, obviously with a low torque. Obviously I did forget to mention the 235i was offered with a ZF8 or a 6-speed manual, obviously the torque converter, yeah, and this was offered with either a 6-speed manual or a 7-speed dual clutch. All three cars I'm reviewing today have the 6-speed manual, which is a very rare option, specifically extremely rare on the M4. On the M2 not so much, and the 235 even more common. But yeah, both cars obviously, like I said, got front forged crankshaft. Both of these engines also incorporate closed deck engine block, so this means obviously you've got a stronger and more rigid engine block, which is quite nice. And yeah, overall very nice. It's one of a kind. A lot of people say that M2 isn't a real M car because it doesn't have an S derived road going M engine, but obviously you do have the powered by M plaque on the engine cover here, with its charge pipe on the bottom here, once again undermounted, which is iconic, and the single twin scroll turbo, which is very efficient. It has very minimal turbo lag, and when it's spooled up, it just completely bolts up straight away, which is really lovely. And yeah, it's just an absolute dream to drive. I absolutely love this. This is probably my favorite out of the 3 engines. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll move on to the M4. So moving on to the F8X series, which is obviously the M3 and the M4. Specifically, this is the F83 convertible. You will notice straight away under the bonnet there are a few differences, including this full carbon fibre lacquered strut brace. And yeah, this engine was also used in the M2 comp, which is the S55, and you will notice it does have this carbon fibre strut brace once again, and the N55 in the M2 does not have that, and it says powered by M on here, but this is an actual M power road going S engine, being the S55. So a little bit of insight to the S55. It came out for the 2014 model year, which was when this car came out, and it ran up to all the way up to 2020, which is like the last of the last LCI sort of facelift ones with the icons and stuff off the F8X platform. And yeah, this car in its lowest output form had 425 brake horsepower out of its 3-litre twin turbocharged straight 6. It uses twin monoscroll turbocharging and not twin scroll at all. And this does have actual minimal turbo lag once again, and it gives a lot of grunt and power. And yeah, obviously very nice. 425 brake horsepower, and out of the comp cars it's 444. So I think they did a slight ECU remap, or yeah, they did have a slightly more competition style exhaust. And yeah, very nice. Obviously, fun fact is it's twin turbo, unlike the N55. It is a little bit more forged up. It does have uprated oil coolers and intercoolers. I think if you have a look, they do place the intercooler underneath the car, or at least on the later cars on the M3s, which is quite nice. And yeah, same internal components as the forged N55, having the forged con rods, aluminium lightweight pistons, reinforced gudgeon or wrist pins, and the oil pump and some. This has obviously got its own uprated oil cooler and intercoolers as well. And yeah, obviously a fun fact about the S55, because it's twin turbo, it has its own sports exhaust system derived for it, and because the turbos are differently placed, it has unequal length downpipes, meaning it has an unequal length exhaust. So yeah, this is why the S55 sounds a bit more grumbly and baritone than the N55's high-pitched sort of rumble, which is quite nice. I prefer the sound of the N55, but people obviously have subjective opinions. Regarding the crank hub issue on these models, obviously it's more common to see them on the, like I'll say once again, the M4 was offered with a 7-speed dual clutch robot manual or a 6-speed manual. And yeah, obviously the DCT is an auto, but I call it a robot manual because it's technically actuated manual and not an automatic. But yeah, obviously regarding the crank hub issue, it's mainly found on the DCT box. The manual models are a bit more desirable because they suffer less with this issue. And cars without tunes or any remaps or any torque or power increases are less prone to this issue. And yeah, obviously the standard 3-piece crank hub you get on these cars is sadly not always strong enough for the power output, and tuning companies and high performance companies which have seen this issue have offered a 4-piece solution, which come at a cost around under £1,000, I think. And yeah, it's mainly caused by shocks and high torque output caused by excessive peaks in RPM. So this is either the very aggressive downshifting off the DCT gearboxes, which aren't timed always right, and don't really have a safety measure, I don't think, or obviously very high RPM changes or very late upshifts. And this can throw off valve timing and basically mean piston to valve contact, unfortunately, which is basically bending the valves, con rods and even pistons. So you may need a whole engine rebuild or cylinder head remachining, which is a bit unfortunate. But yeah, like I said, this is probably out of the whole entire range of F8X platform the least likely car to have this issue, as it's not a comp and it's manual and not a DCT. And yeah, obviously very nice looking engine. It's got its own sort of metal block up here with its twin sort of ports there and the bottom charge pipe. Yeah, very nice obviously. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.